YouTube, people of the internet, what is going on? Holy lordy, welcome to the final stream of the day. Whew, it's been a long road today, chat. It's been a long road, let me tell you. We need to make sure, quite frankly, I think we need to lower that out of the way because it's gonna be a nightmare. It's gonna be a nightmare, but today's match, the final match of the day, it's the boobies. It is the boobies against the Osiris. That is right. Welcome everybody to the final cast of the day. It's been a long day. Hopefully I'm not getting sick, but it seems like I am, but it is what it is at this point. We're gonna wait it out a little bit longer. The match is just about to start in about 4 minutes. If we go take a quick peek at the schedule, I believe it's the schedule, you'll see MFLD and JWM2 picking up the W's today. A very comfortable win for MFLD against 96RZ. JWM2, we pulled up a clutch against DSP. It looks like 89PX also making it to the playoffs. JWM as well. 166 and 245 guaranteeing themselves Group D pretty much for themselves. BBTH moving on, and N3X versus V163 are about to go for it. I believe they go up against each other next week, right? Which is fairly nuts. It's the do or die moment. HKL on Group F guaranteeing a playoff top 16 position. So are Frozen Empire and UCS. OV are going to have to fight it out to make it out of the top 16. They're putting up a fight against Zero, and they're going to go up head-to-head in the next match, which should be super exciting next week. Seeing these two teams going up against each other. What's up, everybody? Shout out to Worthy Prince. Man, Worthy, I literally just talked about you like someone else from the world of Lords Mobile all of a sudden came out of the woodwork. She's actually here as well, so I'm going to hear about that later. And I talked about you, and now you're here, so what do you know? Billy, I'm glad to see you back. Also, major GGs on that Group A. Group A of death. Turns out that we came out of it alive, thankfully. But going back into our match, it should start anytime for some weird reason. Turns out that my ISP has network issues across the country, which is why I can't use the computer to cast. And so we have, unfortunately, this on the screen, and I'm going to be casting on my phone, which kind of sucks. I mean, I do have this little stand right here when the phone is standing there, and so it's possible to cast, but I prefer to cast on the monitor so I can look at you guys in a chat as well while I do all that. Let me move you to this screen, or else I will not be able to read jack diddly squat. We're about a minute out of the match. Oh, wait. Are we a minute out, or did it start? Let's go take a peek. Oh my goodness. Yeah, a minute out till it gets there. Boobies, all hail the boobies, says Misfit Lion King. Glad to see you again back in action, Billy. And indeed, the boobies are probably going to take this one. I think that if I were to be a gambling guy, and I do occasionally put a few bets along the way, as you guys can see, we scored a little bit of cha-ching. That's right, we definitely scored a little bit of cha-ching on that first bet right there. We told you guys, we told you, Dragothian told you, I told you myself too. A bit disappointed with SOD, not gonna lie to you. I expected a little bit more out of them. But yeah, they did take you out last season. Oh, well, it's revenge time, I guess. If they make it, I believe you'll end up seeing them, right? Oh, this is gonna be an interesting one. I did expect a little bit more out of the folks in SOD. Very nice of TX46 to pull up a clutch right there to about a 2.1 thousand points, 2.1K points difference in these two teams. The matches today were fairly close. RX taking a good W against GoGT. Zero taking a beating from OV. NCB against JWM did not end up too well for the folks of NCB. Titans of 79, next three clutching it through. Who else we have? MFLD definitely taking a win against 96RZ. DSP fell to us. It was a very fun match. It was probably the toughest match of Osiris League so far. These guys were really, really good. And thankfully our strategy and the folks played really well. Although, chat, it lagged like absolutely no one's business. The amounts of lag and absurdity in these matches were really above and beyond this time around. All right, so it seems like the match has begun. Let's go take a peek. We're about a minute into it. Nothing that we've lost too much. So see, we have 29 against 28. One of the things I realized is that you really shouldn't care too much about the early... Damn, that's a good thing to see on screen right there. Someone already very salty. So the first minute or so of Ark of Osiris, and the first 3 minutes, people are kind of setting up. Backups cannot come in until the timer ends up on the top. So in the beginning, when I started looking at this, it was like, whoa, why is there 27 against 29? But then I realized that in JWM2, we also have that. I am a substitute. I'm not in the main team, but I do play on the game. So while I was made a substitute, I still port in the 3rd minute. So we also started with 27, and the moment the 3 minutes ended, everybody came in. So I'm assuming that 27 against 29 means there are substitutions coming into the game. If you are new to Ark of Osiris, first and foremost, you're going to get a bunch of information appearing on the screen on that side for you. And on top of all that, just so you know, the first 3 minutes is kind of like cooldown time where people can show up, port into the map, finalize their strategy. Backups can still not come in until the end of that timer. And when that happens, the gates of hell will open up, folks will port in, and the match will begin. We're looking at an early occupation of the early buildings. These are the outposts of, I can't draw on the screen, unfortunately, but we're talking about the outposts right here, as well as the obelisks. These are the first buildings that are available in the first 5 minutes of the match, give or take. And then after that, the desert altar, shrines, Shrine of Life, Shrine of War, and Sky Altar all open up. The whole map opens up, and we are ready to rumble. Too many boys on the OUO team. Boobies will have a problem. Oh yeah, the boobies are gonna... I think that the boobies will prevail. 5-second timer until the gates open up, and just like that, the gates are lowered. We can keep an eye. There come 3 of the substitutions for the folks in red, and probably 1 more for blue, as they are 30 versus 30. You can see it right there. In general, if you don't understand what you're seeing, the HUD up on the top will tell you everything you need to know. You have... I don't have a mouse. This is killing me. You have in the center of the HUD, the total score. The name of the game is who can score the most points within 60 minutes. That timer in the middle in white, that, my friends, is the time left in the match. And finally, in a 30 versus 30, the buildings you occupy will appear up there, as well as how many teleports you have available to use. For now, all that folks do is they start pouring their troops out into the field. As you can see, the folks of OUO really sending out the marches of madness all over the place. They're aiming towards the initial buildings. You can see the little red veins all over the place, making their way to the initial buildings. If we go take a peek at the boobies also sending massive amounts of troops out to the field. And at this point, the name of the game is quite simple. 8 rallies, 4 on each side, 2 to your own obelisks, 2 to the enemy obelisks. The reason for that is fairly simple. The first buildings you really want to make sure you occupy and defend as quickly as possible are your obelisks. The reason for that, they grant you a teleport area. That is right, you can teleport out of the initial zone into this area right here, so long as you hold on to the obelisk for 3 minutes and then keep a hold of it. Once that happens, the teleports will appear. 1 Sibo 8 in there. Shout out to the leader, I believe, of the boobies. And he is flying into the obelisk, picking up the obelisk early on. You can see in the early match, the folks in blue are doing a very good job so far at picking up their initial buildings. They've pretty much occupied every initial building possible, and this will give them a slight lead in the early game. The way Ark of Osiris works is fairly simple. You occupy buildings and you gain points for every minute you hold onto the building. For the first occupation, you gain extra amounts of points, and every time you occupy an enemy building or a neutral building, you have to wait for a 3-minute cooldown. Once that happens, the building starts ticking for points. Each building has its own individual points, and what you're trying to do is get as many points in 1 hour. Now, here's the pickle. What people tend to do more often than not is, first of all, secure their obelisks, and secondly, do what you're going to see on the screen right here, which is send a rally. If I can find where it's marching, send a rally either to your own obelisk, like this one is going right here, or one to the enemy obelisk, which might not necessarily hit. The way these rallies work is that individuals try to position themselves forward on the map in order to have a better placement for when these buildings open up. So sending out a rally very early on, let's go take a peek if we can find one of these. So let's go look at boobies. They probably have one too. War Titan in here. An individual that came out of Kingdom 283, I believe, now in the boobies, rallying up towards the opposition obelisk right here. You can see a rally marching. And the thing about this rally is it is most likely going to break on the way to the building wherever this is. And they will take these marches that formed this rally and move them towards a certain building. So as of right now, and I hope that I did that. Hopefully I did, and you guys see the pop-ups and all is good. Another one of these rallies that's marching forward is Devil 77 moving forward towards the top area of the map. Well, we're going to keep an eye on War Titan's rally, primarily because shout out to War Titan. He is a really cool dude. Got himself between a hard place and a rock when it comes to 283 and found a new home with the boobies. And so we'll see his rally marching for a little bit, and any moment he's going to break it up and go position himself somewhere in an initial building for early occupations. As of right now, 48 seconds to go until the rest of the map opens up. Both teams picked up their share of the map, but the blue team, because they picked up their side of the map earlier, they now have a slight lead as well as a slight points per minute lead. The points per minute can be seen right underneath the points, even though it's really hard to see. So every now and then we'll do this and you'll see it better like that. So the folks in boobies, right, I had to do that, sorry chat, have 80 points per minute more as of right now, and they are consistently gaining more points every single minute and thus gaining a slight 300 points per minute lead. With all this being said, we expect to see War Titan's rally either break next to the Shrine of War or even possibly pushing forward. Looks like the boobies are really trying to go aggressive. They're not going to let this pass. They have an open field presence, very, very, very aggressive towards the desert altar that is supposed to be a red one. And now that the buildings open up, look at occupations. Red team instantly picking up their side of the map. Blue team still missing a Shrine of War as well as a desert altar. This could be bad news, as picking up these buildings as quickly as possible is crucial for you to start gaining the points per minute as well as the buffs that these buildings bring. Shrines of War are buildings that give you 5% attack and defense, while the Shrine of Life is a building that gives you 25% healing speed, which is crucial if you are looking to heal. And trust me, I healed quite a bit today, chat. I think I spent probably like 9 days worth of speed ups in heals today. It looks like the Shrine of Life is completely empty and the folks of boobies are not charging. Why are you not charging onto this Shrine of Life? One march left. What is this? Boobies, what are you doing? If we take a look at the battle report really quickly, we'll see that all there is one build, one march. That is it. If the guys in boobies go quickly, they can pick up this Shrine of Life for free. They've noticed this now, and now they're marching forward. I guess someone's watching the stream maybe or figured it out. Because look, just like that, they pick up the building. And that's great first occupation for the folks of boobies. Why? Because at this stage, the blue team can comfortably take a 400-point first occupation lead if they manage to hold on to this building. Even if they don't manage to hold on to this building, they are delaying the time for the folks in red to take the building and essentially get their own points. The name of this game when it comes to Ark of Osiris is you must either gain more points than your opposition or stop your opposition from gaining more points than you. It might sound like the same thing, but it really isn't. Having a strategy that allows you to diminish the amount of points your opposition makes is much more different than having a strategy that is based on you making more points. That move on the Shrine of Life might not be a move that they'll secure the Shrine of Life and hold on to it long term, although by the looks of it, they've really pushed forward and they might be able to hold on to it. Even if they don't, they've already delayed a whole minute away from the folks in OUO, which is a total of 80 points that the folks in red are missing right now and will miss out of this match. So really, when you're looking at building your strategy, you don't only want to look at how you can be aggressive, how you can gain points, but also how can you take away points from the other team. And with that move, boobies took away 80 points from the team in red. A rally marching through this open field of madness. We have a rally hitting the Desert Altar being one of the most important buildings in the game, 150 points per minute. 4 altars on the map means most of the points on the map come from 4 buildings, the 4 altars. We have 1,180 points on the map total, and the 4 altars alone are 600 points. So far, by the looks of it, the boobies are a little bit ahead. I can't stop saying it, chat. I really can't. I need to go to blue. Blue are a little bit ahead, but so far, only about 3 minutes worth of a match. There's still plenty of time to go, but red buildings are blinking everywhere. Red buildings are blinking everywhere. It looks like the folks in blue are really trying to get their push on. So far, they're push up. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I had to. They're trying to get their push through. They're trying to get these buildings. If only there was a little bit less lag for us to see what is going on. That would be fantastic. Today's matches have been laggy like no one's business. Today's matches lagged like no one's business. So far, by the looks of it, all we get to see is this Desert Altar that is getting rallied plus insanely swarmed. The swarms don't seem to be paying too much attention to the building itself, which is one of those things that we really keep emphasizing on this stream. When you're playing Ark of Osiris, you need to focus on the goals and the task at hand. The task for the folks in blue is taking out the Desert Altar. By fighting in the open field right here, an Ethelfled and a Minamoto are not debuffing the building which is getting hit by a rally, but rather trying to figure out how they can help on the open field. They could be much more helpful by helping the rally achieve its goal, which is to break down the building. Now the rally is dead and all that's left is open field presence. A swarm can still do the trick, but so long as there's a rally on the field, what you want to do is you really want to make sure that you help the rally achieve its goal rather than fight on the open field to get the kills. Yes, that rally would have gotten swarmed out the wazoo, but if it had enough debuffs around it, it could have done much more damage to the building and left for the swarm a much easier time to take over the building. By the looks of it, the Shrine of War is also being contested. If we're not going to see anything, we might as well get out and get back in because this lag is completely unacceptable. We can't see jack diddly squat, chat. What is this? Is it because there's boobies on the table? Is it because the boobies are out there? Listen, chat, let's get out of here really quickly and get right back in. Thankfully, we are in a point where we can really quickly make the switch, go back in and out. That blank up on the center is perfect. It's exactly what we want. Internet, come on, baby. Come on, Lilith. You got this. Oh my goodness gracious, Lilith. The lag today, unbearable. But the boobies will persist and we're going to get there. If it requires a hard reset, we go for a hard reset, baby, if that's what it takes. But by the looks of it, all right. Chat, give me a second. We're going to close this game out and we're going to restart it because this is unacceptable. We cannot allow this to be the viewing experience we have. We want to see all the buildings and we want to see them now. With all that being said, quick restart to the match. Congrats, thank you very much. It was a great match. It was a lot of fun to fight against the folks of DSP. They were really strong. They were a really tough opponent. And okay, Lilith, I see you. Servers crashed. Everything died. What is this? So far, so good. Connect. Hello. 8% is good, but this is where you'll tell me you can't connect. Is that a thing? Chat, is this a thing? Are we seeing this? Is everybody seeing this? Match kicked me once today too. Yeah, the match kicked us. I got kicked out of the match at least 3 times. My gatherer went home twice. It was absurd. Today, Lilith take the crown in terms of lag. And trust me, we're getting back into the match. I don't care. We're going to get in a second, a skin config error. And once we click OK, we'll get back to the boobies. That's right. We refuse to let go of the boobies. We have to see that match. Although so far, it looks like terrible business. I want to take a peek really quickly and make sure that everyone else is really having a tough time spectating right now by the looks of it. Let's see if Osiris League will even load at this stage. My goodness, there we go. There we go, and we are back in action. We're definitely getting back in action, chat. any moment now, whenever you decide to load, I'd appreciate it. What kind of an internet day is today, man? It looks like really Corona's really killed us really badly, and we go demonetized again. Back onto the action we are. 6,600 points in the favor of the blue team. They're leading by about 2,000 points. The first arc is on the field, and it's being contested. The red team currently own the arc, but if you look at the map, the folks in blue own the 4 altars. We've talked about this earlier today. The altars are the most important buildings in the game. They are ticking for 150 points per building. And while one of them is still being secured by the blue team, they can really comfortably let go of this Ark of Osiris. Because this Ark of Osiris is only worth 3,000 points. If anything will load, that would be lovely. But the Ark of Osiris is worth only 3,000 points. But by the look of it, the folks in blue own the map to a point where they have 530 points per minute on their favor. 530 points per minute means that in 6 minutes, this arc will be completely obsolete. The folks in red decided to give up pretty much most of their map in return for an arc that is worth 3,000 points and potentially not really worth their effort. 6 rallies being sent on the field right now. We're looking at, I'm assuming 3 by each side. Blue team still hasn't loaded and so hasn't red. Chat, is anyone else experiencing lag? Raise your hands if you're experiencing lag. Because man, today was definitely the worst day I've ever seen lag-wise. Period. The worst day ever. I've never been kicked as many times out of the game. I've never had to wait for a load screen for as long as I have. I've never had to even deal with these things. And this is not even like my device. It's pure server side. Actually fairly nuts. And the internet all over the place is not doing us any favor. Misfit Lion King got kicked out of the match 5 times. I feel your pain, my man. Imagine having to play a match that is for all the marbles and all you're trying to do is get into the game, but the Lilith just don't care. They're like, yeah, you're going to pay us anyway, so we don't really mind if we put a terrible server along the way. Ark of Osiris is being fought for quite severely. The Ark is now on the ground, as you can see. The problem with picking up an Ark is that whenever you pick up an Ark, 2 very important things happen. Number 1, you get twice the damage. Number 2, you go half the speed you usually do. So by picking up an Ark of Osiris, you essentially become a target. To make matters worse, all you gotta do to find the march that has the Ark is click on the top left side, and that will highlight for you who has the Ark. And then by tapping on the commander image, you can instantly target it. So essentially, picking up an Ark is your way to say, squish me out. And it does indeed happen. Everybody hogging the network as quarantine is becoming a thing. The internet providers never thought they'd ever have to deal with something like this. Right now, buildings are finally loading back up. Thankfully, we get to see some action. The folks of OUO trying to take their building, the Desert Altar, away from the blue team, but they don't own their own side of the map. Usually when we start the casts and I can draw on the screen, I show you guys how the map is a mirrored map, which means, oh wow, it just decided not to load anymore. Which means there are buildings that are supposed to be red buildings and there are buildings that are supposed to be blue buildings. So if you look at the map that is half loaded, half not, the Desert Altar right here and the Sky Altar right here, they're both on the red side of the map. Now, them being on the red side of the map and being blue is a huge problem. It's a huge problem. For the folks in red, going after their own the buildings that are on the blue side is really meaningless when they don't own their own buildings. And to make matters worse, it looks like the boobies really snuck their way into... I was going to say something. I probably shouldn't say it. Snuck their way into the camp of red team, and now they own a obelisk. Big problem for the team in red. Nothing loading, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like everybody's trying to get into watching the one match, and just madness is ensuing. So we're going to try to shoutcast whatever we get to see. And other than that, hope and pray that potentially Lilith realized that, hey, we probably shouldn't let this happen again. With that being said, our friends who are also content creators. We have Ron, we have Chisco, we have Dragothian also casting this match. So make sure you guys open up all those streams in different tabs. Show some love to the rest of the content creators. I appreciate those of you who chose to stick around with me in this cast. But again, let's show some love to the rest of the crew as the Desert Altar is being contested right now. Finally, we get a little bit of action on the screen, and just like that, the action goes away. What did we do? There we go. Shh. The rally unsuccessful. We can't move the screen at all, or else things go really nuts. But hey, red team trying to take their building back. There is right now so much blue presence right next to this Desert Altar that it's impossible to deal with. While we do that, let's go see if we can catch the Desert Altar on the red side. Let's see where it is and click on it and hope if we go zoom in fast enough, it just loads a little bit of an area. What's an obelisk? An obelisk is an initial building, one of the two initial buildings on the edges of the map. And what they do is they are used as a mean of teleport out of the initial zone. So as you can see, once the obelisk will load, if it does, it'll give you a nice area in which you can teleport away from the initial zone all the way into the battlefield itself and place yourself in a point where you have less of a marching time back and forth from your city. You can joke all you want, but some folks in the chat might not know what it is, and so we give them all the information. You can see the red cities around this obelisk make it so that they can get closer and faster into the match and into the fight. The folks of Boobies are really going ham. They're hitting a 120 million power player city. Okay, well, now diverting their attention back to the obelisk as blue buildings are blinking everywhere. We see the folks in red trying to take control back of their Shrine of Life. While they're doing that, they did take back their Sky Altar, which is great news. So far, so good with the Sky Altar. And the altercations in the Desert Altar on the other side might end up being really good for the team in red. Their Attila Takeda rally is nasty, and that building is in need of reinforcements. A lot of folks fighting in the open field outside for the Boobies. Finally, someone goes into the building to reinforce it. Number one priority is always the building. Yes, swarming the rally outside is crucial, but you want to make sure the building doesn't fall. If the folks in blue lose this building, which is currently ticking for them 150 points per minute, but they had marches outside of the building, that is terrible news for them, as they now need to wait 3 minutes once they reoccupy the building to gain their points back. At this stage, it looks like a few folks decided that they're not going to be hitting the rally anymore, but they're going to stick around to try to reinforce the building. But there's just not enough presence here for the folks in blue, and it seems like their Desert Altar is about to go down and go red with 36 minutes remaining in 9,000 points, 400 points per minute in the lead for the folks in blue. They're about to lose 150 points out of that. Back to 590 they went, and now once the 3 minutes go down, 340 points to the folks of red against the 590 of blue. It's not enough, but red is slowly coming back into this with plenty of time to go. A rally on their own Desert Altar is on its way, and there is very little open field presence by both teams in this map, which means at this stage, it's rally versus building. The problem is a Richard holding down the fort against a Genghis Khan, and to make matters worse, there's a nasty Ramses with a Tamaris doing exactly what we've been preaching. A Tamaris debuffing the heck out of this march. Look at the skill damage taken plus under the rally. Look at how much damage the rally is taking from a very weak Ramses whose job is strictly debuff. Add to that this nice little Minamoto debuffing even further the attack. And at this stage, this rally got destroyed. It got destroyed not because of anything but one, the open field presence that debuffed the rally, and two, a very well secured building. At this stage, the open field can leave it be. The rebuilding is going to be secured. The red team is bringing in some reinforcements on the open field to try to see what they can do in here. But truthfully, without a rally, it's going to get very tough for them to be able to compete against this building. But folks are refilling the rally. This rally is not over yet. And man, just like that, we talked about how this was a crucial situation. And with red team bringing in more marches, I see a Yi Song Ye that can potentially bring a Tamaris onto the field here as well. The boobies are now going from being up on the front in this fight to having to really fight for their desert altar back. If you take a quick look at the map turned red. Ladies and gentlemen, more red buildings than blue as the points per minute went down to 200 in the favor of blue. And very quickly, once those 3 minutes end, the folks in red are going to start gaining points per minute. The cutoff point, the middle point in points per minute when it comes to Ark of Osiris is 590 points per minute. Currently, the team in blue own 540, meaning they don't have the full 50%, meaning they're either waiting for a building to finish ticking for the 3 minutes so it gets points, or the other part that is even worse than that, the red team has the majority. Titch, we're still 4 minutes away from the middle. Anything happening in the middle right now would be a complete waste of marches. About the recommended number, there is a recommended amount of time in which you want to be in the center. Anyone fighting at this point is essentially suiciding their troops, and with 4 minutes, you don't have enough time to go back home and come back to the middle in time. Timing your placement in the middle is crucial. Timing your war in the middle is crucial. You want to make sure you do it in the correct time, or else if you do it a little bit too early, you might find yourself without anything in the middle. Both teams seem to understand that fairly well, because I don't see a single march in the center, which makes sense. It's way too early for that yet. While all this is going on, the top side of the map went red, and went red hard. Even an obelisk taken away from the boobies. Man, this is starting to look interesting. These folks are looking to fight for, they're fighting for everything right now. And trust me, there are 33 minutes remaining. Those 10,000 points worth of a lead can be gone like that. That is one arc, good provisioning, in taking over the points per minute game, which right now, the folks in red had the opportunity. Unfortunately for them, they lost the desert altar. This desert altar, once it goes back in favor of blue in 2 minutes, it'll give them back the points per minute lead. And right now, the number one priority for the red team is to stop the bleeding. They've been losing the points per minute game consistently, which means the gap between the two teams constantly grows. For the red team, the first thing they need to do is they need to stop blue from pushing out. And the next thing they need to do is close that gap. But for now, they're not even able to slow down the pace of the blue team, which in about 1 minute and 30 seconds are about to take the points per minute game. And just like I mentioned, once the time is right, both teams are going to start marching to the center. The folks in blue made a really nice play. They first of all went for the desert altar with plenty of marches to swarm it and rally it and take it right back. That's number one. Once that was done, they left enough marches in the building to defend, 3 marches out here in case of need, and the rest marched forward towards the center. Add to that the team from the middle that were already placing themselves in here, and at this stage, the real question is who engages on who first. Yun seemed to have slipped in positioning, and the folks in blue went on to catch him. Now it looks like one more player is in a bit too far forward, and this makes him a huge target and a potential to swarm. This is how you want to get rid of the middle team that is fighting against you. What you really want to do is you want to pick them off one by one as a collective. That's how this works. So by having this situation, the folks in blue placed themselves at a point where they managed to slowly pick off a little bit of red. And in a moment, we're going to see alliance skills casted everywhere. There go war drums for the folks in blue. Boobies are really going, and it was red. Red did that. And they're looking to clear out blue quickly. There is 1 minute and 20 seconds until the Ark of Osiris pops up. And red are still marching marches in, which is good news. But so are blue, so even worse news for red. And now blue casting their own Ark skill, going back into the fight. And whoo-wee, it looks like this middle part is going to go very, very quickly. These guys are defensive, attacking, everything at the same time, everything possible. But while this is going on, the blue team making the correct play. Look at how many red buildings are blinking. This is to put pressure on the red team to not bail on the buildings and go help in the middle. What you want to do in these situations is you want to make sure that the side lanes don't come help the middle lane. If you allow the side lanes to have the little bit of breathing room they need to come into the center, this can cause massive issues. Red team did the exact same thing and went to the back picking up an obelisk. This obelisk pickup is not 4 points. Obelisks are worth 20 points per minute. They're fairly useless, but they are good for teleports. And as long as the red team holds a blue obelisk, the blue team is not gaining teleports. So by doing that, the idea is you want to keep the side lanes busy in the lanes. You don't want to give them breathing room so that they can come to the center and help. And it looks like in all this, the red team managed to so far pick up the center, but they are paying the price dearly. Three altars in the favor of blue. One more altar blinking for the red team. If that goes down, then blue would have had every single altar, which means once more, they can let go of an arc and still make up those points with the time remaining. Remind you, with 29 minutes, if you hold on to 3 altars, that's 450 points per minute. You're going to be making 12,000 points out of these buildings alone. By that time, you can give them all the altar, you can give them every single arc remaining in the match, and you'll still be good to go. So you really don't want to be doing that. Right now, boobies are doing everything right. They're putting on the correct pressure in the correct spots, and there we go. Tech, what the heck do you want from me? Honestly, I don't play Lords. I'm not Bren. I don't care what's going on there. I don't. Sorry. Anyway, going back into the action, we're looking at a very nasty arc of Osiris, and the folks in blue managed to drop it on the side. This is an interesting play. The idea of an arc is you want to drop it on your side of the map. Why do you want to drop it on your side of the map? Fairly simple. You really don't want, really don't want it to drop on the other side. Why? To march an arc from the enemy side around the building to your side takes 30 long seconds. That is right, 30 long seconds. That is 30 seconds worth of having an extra breathing room to bring more marches onto the field and potentially winning the confrontation. The whole point is to delay things so that more marches can make it forward. In the center, just like we mentioned in terms of points per minute in the game, in the center, what you want to do is you want to delay, or if you have the arc, you want to get the heck out as quickly as possible. Right now, it looks like the situation is going from bad to worse for the folks in red, and boobies with double the points at this point and a good 220 points per minute more for their side. Things are starting to look bad. 28 minutes remaining in this match. Not the most exciting cast we've had this season, ladies and gentlemen, but we do cast as many matches as humanly possible. So if you enjoy the content, you're learning something out of it, if you have any questions, any comments, first of all, you're welcome to leave them in the in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you know when the next casts come up. Next week, we will be casting a massive amount of casts. The more, the better. We'll even go into the Anubis realm if possible to cast some matches on that side of the spectrum as well. So you really don't want to miss out on that. And in general, pretty much every piece of information you need, you will find on this channel, including how to get to level 25 in that spring event for free. That's right. That's the video we uploaded Friday in the channel. Go check it out. Super simple to get to level 25. You'll get it done like that. You can still do it. You can still get it done fairly easily. Trust. I'm already, I think, level 19, and I haven't even really been trying that hard to get there. Buildings are looking all blue once more. Trouble in paradise for the folks in red who are still struggling to get this arc out of the center. Finally, they've managed to catch a break and get the heck out. This arc is now marching towards the right position, but there are marches in blue on their way to come after this nice little Minamoto march. They are targeting this march. However, one of the things we mentioned consistently over and over is keep your eye on the target. Keep your eye on the ball. Don't fall prey to side distractions. There are so many blue marches fighting a red marches up here when the Arc of Osiris is slipping between their fingers. This Arc of Osiris is moving, and if the folks in blue up here don't make a push towards where the arc is, they're going to have a very, very hard time to be useful in the center. The whole point of the center fights is to get the Ark of Osiris. But if you're fighting far away from the Ark, what are you doing? The points per minute game evened up quite decently. I mean, 120 points per minute in favor of blue is not significant compared to the past very substantial lead the folks in blue had. By the looks of it, the blue team finally waking up a little bit, going into the match straight down towards the Ark rather than towards open field combat. And that is how they managed to make the Ark drop. The Ark did make a good progress towards red side though. Interesting things indeed. So by the looks of it, madness is happening in Lord's Mobile as Bren Chong apparently is getting rallied. Not that I could care any less, but turns out that this is probably what Worthy Prince was looking for me for. Interesting. People still think I'm Bren Chong, which is actually fantastically funny. I never even had access to the Bren Chong account. He sent me tons of footage, so I don't know why people message me. I haven't spoken to Bren, I think, in like 2 years. So I don't know why people are hitting me up about it, but good for them. Enjoy the zeroing, I guess. It's like, think about the madness that Lion King and Co. did. The folks who zeroed Solomar in this game. Now, think about Bren Chong. He is like a Solomar times 10. Something like that. It's probably a big deal if he gets zeroed, considering how big deal of a deal was the nasty 14 rallies, simultaneous rallies by Kingdom 93. Whew. I remember that video. It was nuts. Where is he? I have no idea. I have no clue. But that would be crazy. If he actually gets zeroed, it's a big thing. Ark of Osiris being picked up by blue. Blue are now doing what kingdom? It's in Lord's Mobile, my man. It's not Rise of Kingdoms. It's a different game. But it's a game I used to cover in the past. So it's not within our game. But if I bring it into Rise of Kingdoms terms, it's like a Solomar times 10. He's from Lord's Mobile, Billy. Nothing to miss. You guys are still the owners of the biggest zeroing ever. Actually, don't cough. Probably a good idea considering I've been feeling sick today. Ark of Osiris marching in favor of blue, but now dropping. They managed to bring it back a substantial amount. It was somewhere down this way, and now it's marched back all the way to the center, which is really, really good news for the folks in blue. They own the map. They own the points per minute. This match seems very, very one-sided and fairly done as far as I'm concerned, with 26 minutes remaining and 11,000 points worth of a lead. I mean, there's still ample time to come back from this. But for that, OUO really need to get to a point where they own the map like they did earlier and hold on to it for a very, very long time. Taking buildings away from blue team hasn't been the issue for red, but rather holding on to their buildings once they take it. It's pretty neat, the fact that the folks in boobies really managed to take their buildings back very, very quickly. And so, with the Sky Altar being contested, lag all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually fairly nuts. Lilith, I'm going to enjoy roasting you guys on Discord later today. Be like, hey, this is stupid. But it is what it is. Let's see if we can get ourselves a little bit of action on the screen. And yes, we can. And Attila to get a rally, hitting a Constantine, holding onto the Sky Altar. This rally is fairly low, and the open field marches are not focused on the building. Some of them are, but not all of them. Just like that, the building decides to unload, because why the hell not at this stage? Let's go back to the center as more alliance skills have been used. This is really weird. There's so many alliance skills being used in the center here when this truly doesn't have that big of an impact for the blue team, while the red team are really, really struggling. The red team is really struggling to get this arc back. Even if they take this arc, it's the second arc. It's worth 3,500 total points. So it'll get them up to 14,000, maybe let's say 15,000 for the sakes of it. That's still 7,000 points short and 410 points per minute being gained by blue. I need some green tea. I need some sleep too. I need some sleep. Thermometer is right here. We're about to make sure that I'm not going up in fever once we hit 38. Once we hit 38, we are definitely going to go get tested. As a free-to-play, what should I focus on more, Saladin or Constantine? I need a good legendary on the field. As a free-to-play, neither. Probably neither. If you want a good open field commander, Yi Seong-Ye is your number one guy. And after that, you probably want to go Richard. If you're looking for more damage, then probably Alexander. If you're looking for cavalry, then maybe you take Khan over a Saladin for more DPS. But Saladin or Constantine are mightiest governor commanders, which for free-to-play players, they are very, very not friendly. They are very expensive for a free-to-play player to focus on. So I don't recommend either of those commanders whatsoever. All right, so, whoa. Why did it go Samsung Dex? Shoo, Dex. Go away. Hello? Dex? Get out of here. Why? Chat. What the heck? All right. Let's see. Dex. Who the frick told you to turn on? That is the dumbest thing I've seen in my life. I don't want you. I want you to go away. Wow. Shoo, Dex. Sorry, chat. 1 second. We don't care for this. Oh my goodness. Turn off. Go away. Close. Really? It actually requires me to use Dex? Is this stupid? Thank you. All right, we're back. We're back. We're back. Bam. And now we got to get back into the game, but that's okay. Dex is crazy. It all of a sudden just turns on. I don't know. Dex is the computer version of the Samsung platform, so you can very, very easily use the phone on the computer, and it's like it mirrors your computer to a monitor. But I don't care for that. I want to see what's on the screen. I don't want to mirror anything. Dex, you're a killer right now. You killed us right there. I connected the phone to the battery, to the charger, because it was about to die, and then Dex turned on. Let's go take a look at the match, as there's nothing for us to watch. This match is as done as it can be. The boobies have definitely dominated this map. It seems like they gave up this arc. This arc started moving more towards the red side than anything else. They've lost control of the arc. Where is it? Let's go see where it ended up. It made it all the way to here. As you can see, the arc of Osiris, March speed minus 50%, damage taken plus 200%. Nasty stuff. But with all that being said, Rally is hitting the Shrine of War, which if the Shrine of War goes down, that arc is actually in very big trouble, because now it works in favor of blue rather than on red. And to make matters worse, the points per minute game is completely lost. I don't think the red team at any point had the points per minute lead. I'm kind of over this, to be honest with you guys. If you guys have any questions, any comments, we're going to keep casting this because we're going to give these guys the respect of finishing this cast. But we can fairly comfortably say GG to the folks in boobies. They dominated this match from A to Z. They didn't give a single chance to the folks in red to get into this match. And even though red might take this arc as a consolation prize, that's pretty much all they'll get. I'm fairly confident. Chat, if you have any questions, now is the time. This was probably the least interesting cast I've ever done by a significant amount. This is definitely the least interesting cast I've done this season. The folks at boobies instantly dominating. They are giants, and honestly, it's visible across the board when we are comfortably casting to 400 or 500 folks on this channel consistently throughout Osiris League, and now with a little bit of a viewership. And not only me, I see Chiskel, Rani, and Dragothian, all three of them casting a match that they all know that is fairly much donezo. Is there anything you guys noticed in the match that you guys want to point out? Is there any question, any comments, anything you guys think that you want in general to know about? Which alliance can you hit in the next round? Marius, I'm not entirely sure yet. It depends on who wins the next match. And now smash the like button if you haven't yet. Drop a like on the stream. I would appreciate it. I understand that the stream wasn't that entertaining, truthfully. Hopefully our next set of casts will be much more interesting than this. But still, if you feel like helping the channel a little bit, one click and you're good to go. My city got attacked this morning, Zariel. I'm sorry to hear that. How bad was it? Marius, it really depends if we beat MFLD or not. I'm not entirely sure what the heck is. I haven't looked at the schedule yet. I haven't seen who we could potentially end up going up against. But I think it's going to be either OV or UCS. I think that what folks said is next round we either get OV or UCS. That's JWM2, which is not going to be pretty. It's definitely not going to be pretty. JWM2 versus UCS. I pressed dislike. Sure, Tsuki, that works too. It is what it is. Playing against OV versus playing against UCS, I don't know which one I would rather. It's going to be a nasty match regardless. A nasty match regardless. It's rigged? How would it be rigged? Have you crafted Lohar's bone necklace? Is it worth it? I have not. No, I don't think it's worth it. By mistake, Tsuki, you little troll. Listen, that coughing to your arm emote looks like you're dabbing, and I really want to steal it and make like a Gekko one for the members. Like a dabbing one. It looks like a dab, doesn't it? I guess OV or UCS would not be that hard. Maybe. I think it would be. I think it's going to be two tough matches. If I were to pick between OV or UCS... No, Tsuki, it's supposed to be coughing into your arm. It's the new emotes YouTube added so that people like are conscious of the situation. So there's like elbow cough, it's called. I thought it's a dab. I thought so too until someone says it's elbow cough, and then I looked, it's actually elbow cough, which is fairly weird. It is fairly weird. Fairly weird indeed. That's a bummer. I was looking for a good final cast. I'm feeling fairly sick, and to get up for this was no fun. Although it is always fun to watch boobies win. Boobies should always win, and I don't mean only in terms of Ark of Osiris. Would be amazing if it would be the last one. Would be the last one of the YouTubers. What do you mean? What do you mean? Well, I will keep using it as a dab. I use it as a dab too, Tsuki. I for sure do. I for sure do. Everybody kicked out and you're the last one. That was fairly close to happen, Marius. Chisco pulled out a win through provisions, finally. And Ronnie is actually doing very good. Other than that, I think Dragothian is out. And all that remains is me, Chisco, and Ronnie. Which, next round, Chisco is still on the hook. He needs that victory. He needs that W next round. And then from there, it would be great for your channel. I think it's the other way around, Marius. If I was the first one to leave, to get out, that would be the best thing. So then I could cast consistently rather than play. And truthfully, depending on how the matchups work next week, I might cast instead of play. I might cast instead of play. I'm not entirely sure yet what I'm doing next week. It depends on a few other things. If I look at the matches and I see that I'm less needed than I think I am. If the team says they don't need me or they're okay without me, then I might cast instead of play next week. I don't know yet. Although I really want to face MFLD. I have a few old comrades in there, including the likes of J-Rock and Turin and company. I don't know if Turin is on the team this time around. Misfit Lion King, Billy can answer that probably, but I think he's on the lineup. There's a few other individuals who I would love to meet on the Osiris field. Don't you think you'll have the most interest if you're the last? If I'm the last playing, it means I'm not casting. So people would be more interested in the match, sure, but they would be watching the other ones casting it. I finally want to see my alliance on YouTube, so you better. Who are you? You're with which alliance? Marius, which alliance are you? Which alliance are you? We're still looking at this going, which is actually fairly nuts. This is still going on. It's unbelievable to fight on the Shrine of War. And honestly, I feel like red team at this point are looking to get their points, their individual honor points, just to make honor points. Points just to make sure they get all the rewards. They realize that this is fairly over. They've lost the points per minute game completely and entirely. We disconnected somewhere along the way. You're 166. Oh, cool. Yeah, I was, to be honest with you, you guys just destroyed. I didn't even have a point on getting there. You guys just destroyed. If the matches are fair, they are cool and fast, then are cool and close, then it's a much more interesting than... Another important conference call in the middle of PM next Saturday. What? Important conference call? Oh, from work. Yeah, sure. I just take the day off. I just take the day off and let it be. They don't really care. My job is task-based. If I finish my task, it doesn't really matter what I do. So as long as I finish what I had to do for the day, nobody cares. Yeah, it's actually fairly neat. And also, I can literally connect to work right now and finish it up. Like there is no limitation as to where and when I can work. Where am I located? I'm in Israel. In the Middle East. That is my current location. Fights happening everywhere. The center is about to pop as another arc is coming up. It doesn't look like the red team is really fighting for it that much at this stage. Tsuki looking for a dab. Dab it in. Heck yeah. Get that dab going. I don't have access to those emotes from here, or else I would have dabbed with you, Tsuki. I would have dabbed with you too. Sebs, by the way, thank you for the very kind $20 super chat earlier. Before we even started the match, I look at my OBS and it's like, hey, Sebs just went nuts. So thank you very much for being awesome. I appreciate that very much. That was very kind of you, and it was completely off stream, which is even crazier because at least most people want to see the pop-up thing on the screen and get the thank you, which I understand. I think it's awesome. Yeah, he's asleep. What a guy. What a guy. Azura, I'm not entirely sure that that's what happened there. Not entirely sure. It's off topic, but do you have any recommendations in order of skill for the Lohar event? Can't make it past 304. 304,000 and whatever the bonus points are is the most I've seen so far. It's the most I've seen so far, 304 and whatever the bonus points are. I think that's the score, the high score in Kingdom 59 too right now. If you were to choose one pair of Legionnaires for the entire game, who would you pick in this game and why? You mean legendary commanders? Who would I pick as two commanders that I would go with forever? At this point, Attila Takeda. Because those guys are just the nastiest rally there is, and they do decent on the open field too. The ones that I would like to have as someone who is a archer commander, I'd probably go, as crazy as that might sound. I know, right? Crazy. Edward Yisong-Ye. And for infantry, I would go with Alexander Richard. Alexander Richard, even over that Guan Leonidas. So those are the three pairs of each type of commander that each type of troop that I would pick if I had to choose between each of them. Edward and Yisong-Ye. Edward because he is a great leader and does tons of damage. He's squishy, unfortunately, but he's a good first commander again with Yisong-Ye that's going to do a lot of AoE damage. Alexander is nasty, doing tons of damage with Richard as the tank to make sure that Alex survives and does the damage it needs to do. And Attila Takeda, they're just the most broken pair in the game. And they're definitely going to get debuffed again. They're going to get nerfed again. There's no way they stay the way they are right now. 7 minutes remaining in the match at this point. I'd go with Alex Yi Song-Ye. I think they have two type of rallies. I agree. I'd take an Alex Yi Song-Ye. If you're looking for something more of a generic thing, Alex Yi Song-Ye is a great play. They have two troop type rallies for sure. I agree. I like that pick. Thoughts on Yi Song-Ye Ramses for rallies? I think you have them backwards. Ramses Yi Song-Ye is where it's at. Ramses Yi Song-Ye is where it's at. YSG at the front usually ends up being a disaster. And yes, you're trading off one skill tree for an attack tree. Sure. Rage. I understand. El Cid Ramses is the deal. Okay, Marius. I'll give that a shot. I like that. I like that idea. I understand rage regeneration. You know, not necessarily everything is rage, per se. I understand that a lot of folks are more focused on rage for skill damage, and you want to do DPS with skill damage, but truthfully, if you're going rage, then why not Edward Yi Song-Ye? Why are you putting out a Ramses? Edward would do a better deal for you. El Cid Ramses is an interesting one. El Cid Ramses could be an interesting one. Maybe. Maybe. Gotta take a look at that. Maybe. I still like the Ramses Yi Song-Ye play primarily for the Eddie drops off once below 70%. True. That is true. I still think that the matter of the fact is he's still leading rallies like crazy. And people are picking him over Ramses, for example, or over Yi Song-Ye as the forward first primary commander. So it's tit for tat, right? Which pair will you use for the Ruin fights? I've not figured that one out yet, Azura. That's a really, really important question, actually. That's an important question. Which pair should be used? Because in theory, a lot of folks were sending Richards to tank quite significantly. But honestly, I'm not entirely sure whether being selfish is the right way to go. I think that the better teams that are going to do Ruin fights the right way will split themselves into groups of people where someone is a debuffer, someone is a DPS, someone is a tank, so forth and so on, and they work together. As individual, it's going to be really rough to get destroyed, essentially. Do ruins help in Arc? No. Ruins in Arc? Which ruins? KVK ruins? How do they help in Arc? How are they related to Arc? You mean the alliance buildings that you hold on to for buffs? In theory, those are supposed to work and also not supposed to work. It's a mess. I think they do. I think Lilith clarified that they do. But I don't know anymore if they do or don't. There was a time where they did and then they didn't, and now they apparently do. There are skills that all of a sudden apply only to the one commander. Apparently the fourth skill of Yi Song-Ye became only on him at some point in time. Never knew that was a thing. Someone mentioned it a few days ago, which was fairly amusing. It was fairly amusing. Oh, wow. Nothing we can do about that. There is nothing we can do about that. Chat. Unfortunately, this stream was a small bust. This match was not as interesting for us to watch. Unfortunately, with 5 minutes remaining, match has been done for like 40 minutes. Folks in red really had one good chance to come back into this, but they just weren't able to hold on to their buildings, which is the worst part of doing Arc, is when you actually get some ground, but you don't have enough ground gained that you manage to hold onto a building. So you take it away from the enemy, but you paid such a heavy price to do it that holding onto it is impossible. And in that kind of a situation, it reverse psychologies you more than anything. I don't know about Artemisia Tamaris countering Attila Takeda. I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen a good report of that yet. Charles Constantine do. But again, the amount of folks who have already focused on Constantine are fairly low. A lot of folks focused even further on Constantine after OV proved that he is such a good garrison commander. But tit for tat, if you go take a look, it's much harder to find folks with a good Constantine. And Artemisia is the same case. In her case, she's relatively new, which is why she is less available. To be frank, even Tamaris. A lot of folks gave Tamaris a long while till they actually maxed her out. Yeah, Alex, Rise of Kingdoms is a weird place sometimes. I definitely agree. Consistency is not their number one. It's not the thing they're known for about the most. They're known more about lag than anything else. Runes from Guardians don't count in Arc, no. Oh, you meant runes from Guardians. Okay, so no, runes from Guardians don't count. Expertise mine today, recruit me, I'm fancy. There you go. Well, you are in a kingdom where you're just destroying mightiest governors, aren't you? Not all of us have that luxury, unfortunately. Not all of us have that luxury, unfortunately. Looks like alliance skills are just being used at this point just to use them. I still really like the animations and the things on the marches that tell you which alliance skill has been activated. I think that's a very cool addition to Ark of Osiris that did change the playing field quite significantly. Although I am seeing more of them being used in the center than anything else. Wow, we won. Yeah, you did. Congrats. It was a very easy match for you guys. A very easy match for you guys. And I see you're enjoying your new home. You're even on the starting team, Gaurav. That's awesome. I'm glad to see you found a place where you can enjoy yourself. I really am. It's good that folks find themselves joy in the game rather than stay in the same place that makes them feel like the game sucks. Sometimes a change of environment is all you need to get it back together. And so with that being said, 3 minutes remaining in the match. We're going to probably wrap it up as soon as this match ends. We'll look at the end stats, see if anyone healed a little bit too much, how things ended up kills-wise. I'm fairly confident that the folks in red probably healed a little bit, but then realized there's no point in healing, and so they didn't. That would be my bet, that they have a little bit of heals, but not that many. I doubt the boobies healed at all. If they did, it was very, very little. But we'll see in a bit as we have 1 minute remaining in the match. This match has been done for the last 40 minutes. The points per minute game in the favor of the team in blue. They're really kicking butt at this stage. They're just looking for a good time. They're brawling it out, doing their thing. And that's pretty much that. With 48 seconds remaining. We're just going to chill here and answer questions in the chat and chill with you guys for a few extra moments until we wrap this thing up. Sometimes it's a bust, chat. Sometimes we cast and it's a bust. Other times we cast and it's a majorly fun time. It looks like Chisco altogether gave up on finishing this match. That's pretty funny. He was like, all right, I'm out. Cheers. And by the looks of it, also Ronnie and Dragotian are still in here sticking around with us, but we're all kind of on the same boat. I was like, it is what it is. I do want to at least respect both teams and finish up this cast, finish up the match, have that whole VOD available, even though it's most likely going to be pointless and useless, but still, I don't know. At least give both teams the respect they deserve for being on the match and fighting it out and doing their thing. And 19 seconds remain as we are almost there. 23,000 to the 41,000. The folks of 1008 are looking to clutch this out. I believe they progress to the next stage at this point. So they end up top 16 with this victory, which is a great move by them. Great news for them. But of course, there's still a lot still remaining. This is going to be an interesting one for sure. Let's see. Why are you annoying? I fixed this somehow a long time ago. Interesting. And GG's. Congrats to the folks of Boobies. That's right, we had to do that one last time. The timer is up. Any moment that the scoreboard will show up. And the top 16. Do you move to top 16 with 2 wins? Pretty much, Tsuki. Pretty much. It's in a very weird situation. It can end up being 2-2-2, where each team beat each other once and lost once. And so you can get to a 2-2-2 situation, but more often than not, what you'll see is a 3-2. Like one team dominates their 3 matches and one team goes for 2 victories. Not progressed yet? Okay. So you guys got one more to go. You guys were on the line for this one. Good. So it's between you guys and NCB. That's going to be a rough one indeed. Looking at the score, it's kind of like we expected. I'm more surprised that the folks in 1008 healed as much as they did. They didn't provision as much. In a tougher match, they might find themselves in a very problematic situation with those kinds of provisions. The kills on both sides are fairly outrageous, not going to lie. But hey, at the end of the day, what won it was occupations by a mile. I think it could happen. It could. A 2-2-2 definitely can happen. I don't think there's a group like that in the Osiris League right now. Well, we can take a peek. You can take a peek. So both DSP and 96RZ lost both their matches. They're out. In here, for example, by the looks of it, let's see. They fought each other already. SOD lost twice, so they're out. But if TX46 beat 89PX, I think they're going after against next. And NB2 win their next match, then this one, Group B can end up a 2-2-2. Group C can end up a 2-2-2. Group D cannot. Group E can end up a 2-2-2. F can end up a 2-2-2. Wow, there's a bunch of them that can still end up a 2-2-2 situation. All of them can end up a 2-2-2 with the exception really of Group D and of Group A. Wow, cool. I think most of them can end up, SNO's group could end up a 2-2-2. Yeah, I think most of them can end up a 2-2-2 really. I haven't looked at how the schedule works out, but this is very interesting. I thought there were more of Group A and D with 2 teams with 2 solid wins. When you have 2 teams with 2 solid wins, that's pretty much it. But 2-2-2s can happen if you have a 2-1-1 situation in your group. Chat, I'm going to head out of here. I am feeling sick out of my mind. I'm going to go to sleep. So again, thank you all for being awesome, chilling in chat today. This wasn't the best cast I've ever done, and I apologize for that. The match didn't really let us get into it too much. We got into it early on, but with the lag and with the madness and with casting on a phone, hopefully next week we'll be back in full swing with awesome matches. We will try to cast from Anubis's side as well. If there are time slots where we can do Anubis instead of Horus, we'll do Anubis, and we'll try to cast as many matches as possible next week. But for now, I'm going to sleep. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Thank you for all your support. And yeah, what happens when groups that have 2-2-2 score? I don't know what the next step would be, if it's based on point differentials or what it is. I need to ask Lilith what happens on a 2-2-2. That's a good question. Thank you guys for being awesome. Azura, shout out to you guys. Think it's an awesome win for you guys. Congrats. You guys definitely showed up into Osiris League as an underdog, an unknown dog, and you guys really stepping it up. So are SNO, and I'm really looking forward to see what else you guys can bring on the table next week. So yeah, I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. I hope video tomorrow. If I have the energy to get up and actually edit it and all that, it would be amazing. But for now, if you haven't clicked that like yet, click that like button before you leave. And yeah, cheers. Peace.